Hi, I'm Jess.
Hi, I'm Kristen.
And welcome to Rediscover, a space where we engage in authentic conversation about life as we grow through it and whatever comes up along the way.
Nothing is off the table here. We talk about the real stuff, the hard stuff, the beautiful moments, and everything under the sun.
Around here, we're always rediscovering, sharing empowering stories, and connecting our hearts and minds with every facet of life.
We invite you to be part of the conversation as we broaden our perspectives, release limitations, and grow to create our most joyful and fulfilling lives together.
So grab a cup of something cozy as we rediscover all the best parts of you
And bring a little magic into your day.
Hi everyone, I'm Jess.
Hi, I'm Kristen.
And welcome back to this month's episode of Rediscover.
I almost forgot how we started for some reason.
I know, we're back again. It's been a while now.
I know, we haven't recorded in person
in a few months. I think the past two have been over Zoom.
Yeah.
So we're back on the bedroom floor
Yep.
at my house and
all is well.
back in our OG location, which is always a good episode.
I feel like last time we were sitting here, we were like, it's almost spring out there. I don't know.
I know.
Now it is full summer.
Smack dab in the middle of summer. It's beautiful out. We're feeling good. It's good to be back.
I'm looking up when Leo season starts because I don't actually know. Oh, yesterday.
We're in Leo season.
I was like, okay, are we at the end of Cancer season or is it officially Leo season? Because of course, that has been this undercurrent for the last few episodes.
Which is so funny because that was not planned.
No,
and it just kind of turned into
happened.
a trend.
So in honor of main character energy season and it being a summer for the girls.
It's a summer for the girls.
We're here.
We're here. And we're saying that because it's a big summer. If you are a girl, gay, or they, you know it is Taylor Swift Eras Tour summer. It is Barbie summer. And literally what is better than both of those things? Nothing. Nothing.
That was a rhetorical question. Do not answer that.
Oh my gosh. We have much to talk about.
Yes. I'm going to take a good sip of water and let you.
Yeah. So where do I even begin?
I want to hear about the Eras Tour.
Let's talk about the Eras Tour.
Since we mentioned it.
Yes. And I am here to answer any and all questions because I know that a lot of people have not been able to get tickets, which has been really difficult. And
yes,
it was miraculous that I even got one. Shout out to my friend Colin from Canada who waited in line for 9 hours on Ticketmaster.
Oh my gosh.
On day of sale and got me one ticket. So I'm very, very grateful that I actually got to enter a stadium.
You two went together, right? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so we went to the Denver show, night one. He flew down from Vancouver area. I came over from Buffalo, New York, so Denver was kind of a good meeting point for us.
Okay, because I wondered about Denver. Why Denver?
Well, also, too, when we bought the tickets, I think we were still in planning phases of what the heck 2023 was going to look like. But I knew my cousin was getting married July 8th, so it was either Cincinnati or Denver, and Denver's preferred. And two, I have a friend in Denver, Angela, and Steven has a friend, Zach, who lives there. So we had a lot of fun, and my appreciation for Denver as a city, just my eyes are opened. It's an incredible city. We didn't even have to Uber or drive to the stadium. I walked.
Wow.
I didn't have to deal with parking. I didn't have to deal with anything.
That's amazing.
So pro tip for anyone listening, if you need a random city to go to a concert in, Denver is the one. Because if you can stay in the city, you can walk there.
Yeah.
That's the worst part of concerts, right?
The parking situation or having to Uber and figuring out where. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very much. Very much so.
Yeah. So anyways, we went to Eras night one in Denver. We didn't do the whole go there several hours before thing because I think a lot of people were doing that. And I think that would be really fun to do. I don't know.
Tailgating.
Tailgating. Yeah. I think
cute.
that would be cute. But I don't know. I was just we went out to afternoon tea that day,
Cute.
Which I thought was fun. Kind of an anti-hero tribute, which was fun.
Yeah.
And then we had to take a nap. I was tired. So
it's okay.
We showed up.
No nap shaming.
No nap shaming. So we showed up and people were trading friendship bracelets. Colin made a bunch of little friendship bracelets, which was really sweet.
Oh.
Like, every time you would see, like, a little girl trading, like, I would go over to them and be like, do you want one? And they would get so excited and pick one out. And even the adults, like, adults were into it, too. But that was
so wholesome.
It was a really wholesome. Again, summer for the girls. Like, it's just pure, beautiful feminine energy at Taylor Swift concerts. Like, it is a safe space and joyful, which is really cool that she can cultivate an environment like that. Like, that's how I know that Taylor Swift is such a good person, because she exudes an energy that creates a community like that, which I think is really cool.
Like, the people that are drawn to her are just a reflection of her.
Yeah. I think my one little mishap, we wanted to get merchandise, which we didn't need to do. I could have ordered the same thing online, but I love wearing a concert hoodie or shirt the day after. So we got there. I think we got in line about an hour and a half before the show started, and I was literally like 3 people away from checking out when she started the show. So I missed the first 45 seconds of Cruel Summer. Spoiler.
Oh my God.
I know. But I still, like, I walked into the stadium and I cried because I was like, oh my God, it's the first time I'm hearing this. And
the strangled cry that just came out of my throat. I need to apologize for that. I just love Cruel Summer.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So she kind of divided. Are you okay with spoilers?
Yeah, I'm not going.
Okay, so I can talk about it for you.
I am not going.
Cool.
I mean, if you guys don't want spoilers, maybe just, like,
skip ahead
a little.
I'll try and put in the show notes, like, a time.
Eras Tour spoilers timestamp.
Yeah, a timestamp, so you can
skip
ahead.
I am like, okay, please don't hear what I'm not saying, but I'm, like, happily not going. Not because, like, I genuinely didn't even try to get tickets. I was just like, okay, everyone's going. I like forget.
You have to be really on it, and if you miss the first one, it's just
like, this sounds stressful. I'll just live vicariously through other people. I feel like I was there because, like, every weekend, like, someone's at a concert and I'm seeing videos and stuff and it looks amazing, and I know it's not the same as being there. I do not care about spoilers because I am 0% bitter that I'm not going, and I am 100% thrilled for everyone else who did.
Great. Well, then I'll go into it. But, please do. So basically she broke up Eras Tour into all of the different eras, obviously. She did every album except debut. She didn't really have a debut section, which is fine. I think it could have been cute, but also she performed for 3.5 hours straight. No break.
No break?
You want to know when her break was? When she was singing The One, and she was kind of laying on the hill of the cabin, like the folklore cabin. So she was still performing. Like, that's the only time she laid down or, like, chilled. I know. Kristen's eyes are very wide.
Oh my God.
I have no idea how she did that.
I don't know. How do you do that?
Like, I just genuinely have no idea how someone is physically capable, because I was exhausted being an audience participant, as was everyone I saw the next day. Everyone looked like they got hit by, like, a hangover truck. Like, it was crazy.
Everyone has a concert hangover.
I did not drink 1 drop of alcohol. Like, I was just exhausted from being there and, like, dancing and the rush of it all. So I don't know. She obviously must have a really good routine regimen. Obviously, she has a professional team helping her with her health and wellness and all of those things. But I was impressed. And she was lively and energetic and, like, into it. Like, she genuinely was just so in the flow, because she's obviously doing what she's meant to do.
Right.
So it is second nature to her.
Right.
But I don't know how she does this show multiple times a week. It was so intense.
Yeah, that's wild.
It was so intense. But she started with Lover. She opened with Lover, which was so exciting because I just love Lover.
Lover was, like, a slow burn for me. I am obsessed with it now. It, like, took a while for me to get there. There were, like, a couple songs that I really loved when it first came out. Yeah. But I was, like, always I still am, like, very diehard 1989 girly. Yeah. And when the Folklore came out, I fell in love with that. But, like, the other albums, I don't know, like, I just, like, those two were on a pedestal for me, and everything else sort of, like, fell away. Yeah. But I feel like since the Eras Tour, I'm, like, getting back into Lover, and I'm like, wait a minute. Yeah. This album is amazing.
Yeah. It's very good, and I was really into it because it was kind of perfect timing. Like, it was very serendipitous in my own life because that's when I was talking to Steven. Yes, so it was, like, it came out when me and him were in, like, we were, like, transitioning into, like, flirty talking, like, starting to basically, like, virtual date at that point. So it was, like, you know, the falling stage. Like,
right.
So Lover just, like, made sense. And I feel like the song itself, Lover, I have such a connection to, because I used to listen to that song walking around my old neighborhood in Orlando. And, like, basically,
you mean
I think
our old neighborhood.
Yeah, our old neighborhood where we used to live
next
door. But I think I would, like, feel the feelings of, like, I was basically just, like, visualizing and manifesting without, like, realizing. Like, it brought up so many of these, like, deep feelings of actual love. That song, like, really, really hits me deep. So I love Lover. So anyway, so she went through it's crazy. It was a blur. Like, a lot of people, I've heard from people, they're like, I went to the concert and I can't even remember what happened because so much happened.
That would be me. That would 100% be me.
And if you've never gone to a Taylor Swift show, like, I could 100% see that happening, because it is overload.
It's like sensory overload.
It's like seeing every single concert in one. Like, when the Reputation section happened, that was the last concert I saw in person. I was like, oh, it's just like Rep Tour all over again. Like, it felt like the full concert. Like, they had these sets and they had the costumes. She changed her costume constantly.
Yeah.
I don't know how she did this.
That's, like, my favorite part of seeing these videos are all of the outfits. So we'll get into that in a second, because I have thoughts.
Yeah. So, also, I think it's interesting, too, like, what you were saying about how, like, Lover was a slow burn for you. I realized, like, Folklore and Evermore were slow burns for me. And, like, now I'm in, well, especially Folklore, I'm, like, in a very big Folklore phase right now.
It's a very healing album to listen to.
It is. Because Betty has, by far and away, it is in my top 10 favorite Taylor Swift songs of all time. Like, I think that, like, I get chills from that song. I don't know what it is. Like,
it's the key change.
It's the key change. It's really the key change. Colin re-explained to me the whole love story triangle, which I've read online. Like, I get it. But, like, talking to him about it in person, I feel like something clicked. And I'm like, oh, this is brilliant. Like, it could be a movie that I'm visualizing in my head. And I think when you have friends to talk to about the songs, that's when you really get into it.
It solidifies something in your brain. Well, that's what she does, right? She's a storyteller. You know, there have been different eras, if you will, where, like, people were, like, really highly critical of her, like, oh, she can't sing, whatever, which also, like, false.
Oh my God. Also, though, her voice nowadays, because I saw her in the early days, it was spotty. I'm not going to lie to you.
She was also, like, 17.
Yeah.
Like, give her a second.
But also, her voice is insane. Yeah. It's so strong.
She's worked, I mean, like, look, like, Mariah Carey's voice is phenomenal and impressive. And, like, yeah, that's a lot of natural, raw talent. Ariana Grande, same thing. Celine Dion, whoever. Like, these just iconic female artists who have so much natural talent. But I have a lot of respect for someone who, like, has some raw talent, like, knows what she's good at and knows what she needs to work on and works on it. I mean, like, we've watched her grow. We've watched her storytelling ability grow and her, you know, vocal ability grow and all of these things. And I have so much respect for that. I mean, that's hard to do, especially on a national, international stage. Like, all these people are watching and you have to just, like, see and internalize all this criticism. And instead of letting it, like, that would have probably made me stop. Like, one person would have been like, she sounds terrible. And I would have been like, I'm never singing again.
Yeah, she has some sort of resilience to her. I'm sure a lot of it has gotten to her over the years. Obviously, it shows, like, in her music. It's been really difficult, but she just keeps pushing through because she's in such alignment with her purpose that she does not stop. And I think that is so cool.
Yeah, but I've always just stood by this argument that you can say what you want about her, but she is an incredible songwriter. She tells a story and everything connects. Like, it's like she's writing a saga, like a series of novels, and, like, from one year to the next or whatever, like, there are these character arcs that happen both for her and in these stories that she's telling. It could be about her, you know, obviously a lot of them are, and we know that, but, like, they're also so ubiquitously applicable, and that's why they resonate so deeply with everyone, because you can find yourself in that narrative.
Yeah.
And you can picture yourself walking around your neighborhood when you were listening to this song at this time of your life. And so when, like, somebody goes to the Eras Tour and hears all of these, you know, songs and sees them all play out in these incredible visuals, it's like you're watching your life play out almost, because she's been around since we were, I was in middle school when the first album came out, but
I was in early high school, so probably like 13 years old.
How old were we when Fearless came out?
I think I was a sophomore in high school, I think.
So,
because I know Speak Now wasn't Speak Now my senior year?
Yeah.
So that was 2011.
You and I were like driving around listening to Speak Now.
And Speak Now still hits for me.
Yeah.
Like when the Speak Now Taylor's version came out the other day, well, a couple weeks ago now, I put on mine and Sparks Fly, and I just like sobbed in my car because I'm like, you don't get to listen to one of your favorite / like childhood / lifetime albums for the first time again very often.
Right.
Like that just isn't something that happens.
Right. She literally did the impossible. The thing about life that is so beautiful and so sad simultaneously is that all of these moments that we know in the moment are beautiful and memorable are ephemeral. Like they're gonna go away. Like you can be experiencing something awesome. You can be on a trip somewhere or whatever, and you're like, oh, this is beautiful. But in the back of your mind, you're like, it's gonna be over soon. You know? And so she found a way to tap into that emotion and bring us to that place where we felt simultaneously excited and like eyes wide open experiencing something new, but nostalgic at the same time. It's freaking genius.
It's genius. And the thing on top of that too is not only did she do that, but she took one of the worst situations of her career with Scooter Braun and the whole... I'm sure everybody already knows this, but like how Scooter Braun did not give her the opportunity to buy the rights to her music that she had written on her bedroom floor when she was 16. And that's a really bad situation to be in. Like, I think there's so many things messed up about that.
It feels very violating. Like,
it does.
This is a part of you, so I can imagine how liberating it must be.
She not only re-released the albums and re-recorded the albums, like to also release the vault songs on top of that. There have been some gems in there. I don't even know how we lived without them. And it's like getting a whole nother album with all the vault songs. I listen to the vault songs, honestly, right now, like more often than I do the regular songs because they're like fresh and new.
Yeah.
I love, love, love Electric Touch on Speak Now. I love Message in a Bottle from Red. I love Mr. Perfectly Fine from Fearless. I'm like, these are classics. They're classics.
They should have been classics.
Yeah, but they are in the modern day.
I love Timeless. I know everybody loves
Timeless
it,
is
but like,
great.
I love it.
That was my secret song.
It's very cute. Oh yeah, that she played.
Yeah.
So yeah, I have some. Well, if you want to keep talking about like the order of, I don't know, were you going into like the order of things? Or?
So I would love to, but it's a blur. I don't really fully remember the order because there was so much going on. But I will say just a couple things that stood out as far as production value. I thought Willow was one of the best productions of the entire time.
Yeah.
It was very witchy. It was very like in the forest, crystal ball, like very cool costumes. And I don't know if you've seen it.
Yeah.
I was trying to avoid spoilers before, so I didn't really put things together, but I want to watch that again.
Yeah.
It was really cool.
Yeah.
I cried at Cruel Summer. I cried at Lover Bridge, obviously. Love Story and Enchanted. I'm a fairy tale girly, I guess. Like romantic over here.
I mean, how could we not be?
I know.
With our like, I'm looking at your little figurines of Aladdin and Jasmine.
I know.
In your little cabinet. How could we not be?
I know. So that was really good. And then I also just thought there were some really cool effects, such as during the midnight section, which that was the final section.
Okay.
So
makes sense.
She played a lot of songs from Midnight's. Mastermind was really cool. Yeah. It was like a chessboard.
Oh, cool.
Which I thought was really clever.
Yeah.
Just on theme. And then she did Midnight Rain, and all the dancers had umbrellas, and it looked like it was raining on the stage, like there were droplets that were part of the stage. And I thought that was really cool.
Wow.
Yeah. So her stage production was amazing.
Yeah.
Like, genuinely, she could have just done a concert with Lover, Folklore, Evermore, Midnights. Like, that's a whole show.
Yeah.
Like, she's released 4 albums since she's toured last time. Wow. Like, she didn't have to do all this for us, but she did.
Yeah.
And I think it was probably a good time to do it, because if she waits any longer, how would you physically fit it in one show? But she usually tours with 1 album at a time, which is, she's like, this is the first time I've ever done this. Like, not just doing one album as the focus. And I'm like, that's insane.
Not just one album, but like literally your entire discography.
Everything.
Yeah.
It was definitely a highlights tour in the sense too, where it was a lot of the popular ones, which is fine. Like, I definitely love the Under the Radar songs. Yeah. Those are my favorites. So, you know, when she's saying, you need to calm down, and Me, and like Archer and stuff, like those are not my favorites from the album. Like, on Lover, like, I like Paper Rings, Death by a Thousand Cuts, I Think He Knows, like those songs. I'm just talking Lover specifically. Like, those songs hit for me so much. So it's like, that's like my only thing. It's like, okay, you're only really getting the mainstream ones in Eras Tour. I think she did a lot more from Midnights, but my biggest complaint is she did not do You're on Your Own, Kid, which I think is a fatal mistake.
Oh, yeah.
I think that is one of her best songs of all time.
I agree.
And she plays it after the show's over as like everyone's leaving. It's like on the speakers, and I'm like, why would you do that to us?
Not only did you not play it, but like, oh, it feels like salt in the wound.
Yeah.
Okay, so I feel like I have some like rapid fire Taylor Swift questions.
Yeah,
some of them to do with the tour specifically, and some of them more overarchingly. So which would you like first?
Let's do tour first.
Okay. Favorite song she played?
Oh my God. Hold on. I didn't even think about
like
this.
For whatever reason. Either it surprised you or it just like hit you, whatever.
I think, well, at the moment, like I still am thinking of Willow. Like I think that one like kind of caught me off guard completely. I thought it was just a really good production.
Okay.
And also Betty. Oh, I forgot to say I cried at Betty. I freaking love that song.
It's the key change.
It's the key change.
It
like, people don't talk about it enough.
Yeah.
It makes me cry. Like, I could cry on the spot if I listen to it at any time of the day.
That's all you need to do. If you ever decide to pursue an acting career, just think about that song.
Yeah.
You can cry on cue.
Oh my God, I love it. Okay, next. Go on.
Okay. I also have like an answer to this, obviously, because this is the only question I can answer having not gone. But like, favorite outfit?
Ooh, Enchanted.
Okay. Yeah. I love the Lover, like, leotard. Just like the sparkly, spangled situation. It is so cute.
It is so good. Taylor Swift knows how to rock a bodysuit, but then also find a bodysuit that goes with every era. And I think that's so cool.
Right.
I literally was envisioning, I'm like, these bodysuits are going to be in like the Hall of Fame, Music Hall of Fames for the rest of time. Yeah. It's really cool to witness a music artist that I'm like we're growing up with, like in her prime right now. Like, it's like watching Elvis or the Beatles in modern day, because you see these, or Cher even, like you see these icons from their time, and like we surpass that. Like, I still admire all of those artists and I love them, and I go and see their costumes in the museums and I like fantasize about the past. But like Taylor Swift is that iconic, and we are experiencing it now, which is such a gift. It's so cool that we get to be a part of that in the present. Like, we didn't miss it.
Like, as the new music comes out and everything, like, as she releases a new
album. What a gift.
You're, like, glowing.
I know. I love her so much.
Okay.
Oh, my God.
So, okay, I'm trying to remember. Okay, so, oh, gosh, I'm trying to remember what else I was going to ask you. I can't ask you favorite Taylor Swift song of all time, because that just feels like...
I would go off.
I know. That just feels like we'll be here a while. Plus, I feel like we already, like, got a sense of what your top few are.
Yeah. Death by a Thousand Cuts, Betty, Call It What You Want, Clean.
No.
Lover.
Clean.
I love Clean. Yeah. That's my favorite 1989 song.
Yeah, really?
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
Because I feel like when 1989 came out, I was just like trying to like come into my own and cleanse myself of...
We were not...
The past.
We were not... Yeah, I don't think we were... What was that? Like,
that was 2014. That was like...
We were like...
In the middle of not...
Nonsense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so like... You can only take one Taylor Swift album to a desert island. Which one are you taking?
Oh my God.
I'm sorry. Like, no Apple Music or Spotify. I just have a literal CD.
I think I would do Lover.
Okay.
Speak Now also. But I think...
Man, you only get one.
Fine. I'll do Lover. I'm just saying Speak Now would be my second choice.
Okay, fair.
I'm a Speak Now Lover girly.
Okay.
What are your two? 1989?
1989 and Folklore.
Folklore. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good combo.
Mm-hmm. It's literally like the Gemini in me, because the one side is like, woo!
Yeah.
And the other one's like, okay. Yeah. And we're decompressing.
Yeah.
It's like the high and the like mellow.
Yeah.
Coming down.
Yeah. I also think too, because like I'm obviously a very big Swiftie. I have been since 2000
the first
whatever
album came out.
Yeah. So I also was crazy and went to I think I went to every show, but I missed Red. So it was really healing to go to Eras and be able to see Red performed,
like happen.
Yeah it was really cool. So I'm grateful for that, because I should have went. I was my freshman year of college and I just kind of like felt I was just distracted. Like I was definitely like very anxious at the time.
You were in a funk.
Was in a funk. Yeah, I was going through a lot of life transitions. Like I just was not leaning on my security blanket of Taylor Swift, apparently.
My emotional support support.
I do remember listening to like Never Ever Getting Back Together, like driving around, like Throwback.
Yep.
So if you have missed Taylor Swift concerts in the past, basically is what I'm trying to say, is Eras gives you the chance to like have a dip of that in the present, which is really special.
Yeah.
So
cool.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else. There were these little girls in front of us, and Colin and I were just, it was making us emotional because they were probably in 8th grade. Braces,
Aww.
jean jackets with every logo on the back, like,
oh my gosh.
like little bedazzled, whatever.
So cute.
And they knew every word to every song. Every single one. Like,
That's
even
so
the articulate aspects of, like, Evermore and Folklore.
Yeah.
Like, those are intense songs, like, lyrically, and they knew every word. And when they did the Secret song, they were, like, filming in front of them, and then they turned to the side when she announced what it was, and they filmed each other, and they both were like, ah, and they, like, screamed, like, in the phones, and it's just, like, this cute memory of them, like, that they're gonna have forever, filming each other when she announced the Secret song, which was cool.
And it was timeless, right?
Yeah, so we got Picture to Burn. So we did have a little debut.
Oh, cute.
Picture to Burn was the first one, and then Timeless was the second. Timeless she has never played before, which was pretty cool. I was a little bummed because Night 2, and this is such a, like, irrelevant problem, but, like, Night 2, she played Starlight from Red, which is in my probably top 15. Like, I love it. And then she also played Back to December, which, classic.
Right.
So Night 2 definitely got the better of the Secret songs, but I think it's cool that we got the first ever Timeless, because it makes sense that you love that song, because it's very visually, like, it's a very good storytelling song, and it's very romanticized, like, 1940s vibe. There was one other thing I wanted to say, and I can't remember. I do know I wanted to mention the Folklore set. I think you would love, because it was a cabin.
Yeah.
Like, it's very, like, folklore fairy cabin in the woods, which I think is kind of, like, what I want my life to just be like. Like, those are the vibes.
This looks nice. I always said if I, like, never found someone or got married or anything, that I would just pull a Matilda.
Yeah.
And do that. I don't know if I've said this on this podcast before. I probably have, but I would do a Matilda and, you know, like the Miss Honey thing. Yeah. Like, she has a little cottage, and it's just, like, got a little swing and a little garden, and she's just, like, content. It's just, like, her and Matilda.
Yeah.
Like, I'll just adopt a kid and get a dog and go live in a cottage.
That's really not a bad plan.
No. That was my backup for Anthony.
Yeah.
It's like, if you leave me, this is what I'm going to do, and I will be very happy doing it, just so you know.
Just so you know. So, like, you're here because you make my life better.
Not because I need you. Yeah. He's, like, very aware of that, though. He'll be like, I know that you don't need me. But I like that you want me.
But that's the best place to be in. Like, I will die on that hill, because I think that is the healthiest relationship energy that you can be in. Yeah. I've gone through my many years of codependency feelings, and it's just, like, it's not it. There's a lot there that you can unpack, and I do think it's very possible to heal from it, but the awareness that you need to cultivate around it is very important, because it's a very unconscious pattern.
100%.
So, and I also think, too, listening to Speak Now, Taylor's version was interesting, just to tie this in. A lot of, like, the lyrics from Speak Now, especially because they're in the earlier days, are very, I don't know if they're all necessarily codependent, but a lot of them kind of showed me, like, where I picked up some of my relationship beliefs from.
Oh, no, Taylor Swift?
Yeah, and I love her, but I'm just like, oh, this is interesting. Because, like, even in the news, even in, like, When Emma Falls in Love, there's this line, it's like, Little Miss Sunshine always expects the sky to turn gray or something.
Yeah.
And like how the other shoe's gonna drop and like all these things. And it's like there actually is kind of a negative bias towards the outcome of things to work out in a lot of her songs, which I don't fault her for. Like, that's realistic of how she was feeling and how she tells her stories. And it's relatable to people, right? Because that's so human of us to expect the worst.
Yeah.
But now that I'm just trying to become more in tune and more conscious of like what I'm thinking about and what I'm investing my energy in, I'm like, oh, I see why I had a lot of like presumptions about dating when I was younger.
Yeah. I was reading a book recently, and I don't remember which one it was because I've read like 4 or 5 books in the last couple weeks, but it's a big reading summer. Not that that's surprising, because pretty much every summer is that way for me.
It's a summer for the girls.
It's summer for the girls. We are laying in the sun reading.
Yeah, we love it.
But it was something like someone was talking to somebody who kind of adopted that belief, like, you live every day like you're waiting for the other shoe to drop, but I'm gonna let you in on a secret. There's no other shoe.
Yeah.
Like, that's not actually how the universe works. There's no person in the sky with puppet strings going, hey, here you go.
Yeah.
Like, have to even out the playing field. And I think if you live life with the expectation that because something good happened to you, something bad is inevitably going to follow, then something bad is inevitably going to follow.
Yeah. And to go a layer even deeper than that, the way to be unshakable is to view everything as neutral.
Right.
Because good is neutral, bad is neutral. Like, to be able to actually view those things without preference is like where you actually find peace, which is like getting really, really out there. I know, from like a, you know,
it's not
normal
really,
conversation.
though.
I know for some people it's like very out there, but we've been really into Eckhart Tolle lately.
Yes.
And it's
the
like
Power of Now.
Power of Now. We bought it was on sale at Target yesterday.
So good.
We bought 2 copies because we want to both read them before bed, and then once we're done, we're gonna go put one at Knox Farm in the little
lending library.
In the lending library.
Oh,
yeah,
you guys.
So, because that book has like
good people.
Thanks, but
I love to leave books in my car and find lending libraries when I'm done with them.
Oh, it's so
if
cute.
it's not a book that I've like marked up or something, because I am notorious for like writing in the margins. I will put it in a lending library because I'm like, someone else needs this.
Have you read Untethered Soul by Michael Singer yet?
I have not.
Add that one to your list.
I do have a list.
That one, I think Power of Now and Untethered Soul are 2 of the most life-changing books of all time.
The Power of Now.
Yeah. Yeah, that one is really good. I think The Power of Now, we talk about this all the time because these are literally me and Steven's 2 favorite books, but Power of Now is really good about like removing the noise and like being really present in your life. And then I think Untethered Soul is really good about acknowledging patterns in your life and like integrating a more spiritual approach into your life and like moving through them and healing them.
Yeah.
So really good stuff. Spiritual Girl Summer too.
Yes. Well, it's all under the umbrella of Girl Summer.
Yeah.
We're eating girl dinner. We're doing girl reading.
Yeah.
We're getting girl vitamin D.
Yeah.
We're listening to girl music.
Yeah. It's cool. It's like, it's Rise of the Divine Feminine.
And speaking of the Divine Feminine and Girl Summer,
let's talk about it.
Let's talk about Barbie.
Oh my God, I would love to.
Full disclosure, I have not seen it yet because as of when we were recording this, it only came out like less than 48 hours ago.
And have I seen it already? Yes.
Yes. The only reason I haven't seen it yet is because Anthony has been working and we want to go together because he is, God bless, a feminist. So
we stand.
I will be going to see it soon.
I am not going to give spoilers. If I could talk about this full disclosure with you, I would go off right now, but I'm not going to.
When I see it, we will do
we'll revamp.
Yeah.
We'll come back. So I think the thing about Barbie is that people hear that there's a Barbie movie and they're like, what? Like,
literally my mother was like, I don't understand.
My neighbor, like everyone, they're like, you want to see a Barbie movie?
In my mother's defense, I watched the Barbie Nutcracker movie as a child, like on repeat.
Right, so they probably think it's like that, you know,
right.
Which isn't bad at all. It's just very different.
Don't knock the Barbie Nutcracker. It's very good.
Yeah. So I think it's interesting because people don't realize like this movie it's like a full on, like you said, a movie with a plot, a movie with depth. I cannot get over the amount of big topics that they covered.
Yeah. Well, when I saw it was Greta Gerwig, I was like, okay.
Yeah, we're going
to do
we're
something
going
here.
in. We're going in. So they were able to capture the fun, the nostalgia, the amount of throwbacks to the different types of Barbies, like, and clothes is really cool.
Yeah.
Not going to give any spoilers on specifics on that, but it's cool. Like, they tied in the history. Get excited for that.
Okay.
Yeah. So, like, really great history.
I don't know when we're gonna go, but we need to go this week because I'm impatient.
You can't wait. It's one you just don't want to wait for.
I also don't want to accidentally see a spoiler.
Yeah, because they're gonna come up.
I know.
I think this movie has been doing really well.
I almost saw one today, and I was like,
yeah. It's fun. It's nostalgic. It's vibrant. Obviously, like, Barbie's dream house is pink as fuck. Like,
yeah.
I think I heard there was a pink paint shortage or something across the country because of this movie.
Oh my God.
I'm pretty sure that was a true fact. So, love that. So they really tied in all of those things. So it's fun for kids, right? Like, they can actually see, like, the colors, and it's, you know, they're all Barbies. Like, everyone's Barbie. Everyone's Barbie, everyone's Ken.
What is the film rating?
I don't know.
Interesting. Because I was curious. We should look that up. Because I was curious, like, how they would... I mean, Greta Gerwig can do anything, but, like, how they could address, like, these more overarching, like, social and cultural themes without kind of compromising thematically on, like, also making something that's appropriate for children.
Yeah, the reviewers recommended the movie is for those who are 11 and older. Okay. Barbie is rated PG-13.
Okay.
I would bring my child to Barbie.
But it's, like, there were those movies growing up that, like, were PG-13 that your parents were like, okay, you can see this.
Yeah. I would bring my child to Barbie.
Yeah.
Like, no hesitation. But I also am going to be the type of mom that is very open and accepting and very neutral about things, because I just think that is the way to progress forward in the society we're trying to build.
Right.
I am not going to be the type of parent who is blinding my children from things. I'm going to approach it in a very, like, healthy manner. Like, that is the intention.
And I think, like, being discerning, like, oh, you can't go, what's the movie rating? Like, you know, if a kid comes to you, like, a 12-year-old comes to you and they're like, can I go see this movie with whoever? What's it rated? PG-13? No. Like, take a second.
That's too black and white for me.
Right, right. I want to be discerning. Like, what's it about? Like, I'm going to look it up. And, like, if I feel like the occasional language that I'm probably also already using around the house can, like, you know, be diminished by, like, what they might take from it, then sure. If it's just, like, some dumb, unnecessarily violent, you know, whatever, okay, maybe not. But at the same time, I think there's, like, a certain... Again, we say this as people who aren't parents yet, so who knows, like, how I'll feel, but it's like the drinking before college thing, right? Like, if you put your foot down about everything and you make everything a crime, then, like, you're going to create a fearful adolescent who is afraid of you finding out what they're doing because everything is a crime. And then you're not going to cultivate open communication with your child because they're going to be afraid to tell you everything. So then when the big stuff happens and you don't find out about it until after the fact and have to help them pick up the pieces, you're going to be like, where did I go wrong? It's so much give and take from, like, what I'm seeing even with, like, friends who are having kids and stuff. But Barbie is, like, definitely the exception to the movie rating rule. Oh yeah,
it's PG-11 or whatever.
It's PG-11.
Honestly, I would just bring my
these
child
numbers?
to it. Yeah. I thought it was fine because, too, anything that is too much of a big concept for them is going to go right over their head. Like, they're just going to watch Barbie and, like, enjoy the colors. And, like, it's so visually stunning and appealing that it's, like, it's incredible.
And to me, there is no age that's too young to start talking to your child about gender roles and feminism and, like, being accepting and all of those, like, big concepts that are apparently covered in this film.
Yes.
Like, you can talk to a 5-year-old about that. Just put it in terms they can understand.
Exactly.
And they will hear you. You can talk to an 11-year-old about it. I think it's good to talk to, like, pre-teenagers about it because you hit puberty, you start liking boys. Now you need to start paying attention to, like, how they're treating you and how they treat each other and, like, toxic masculinity.
And they were able to really do a graceful job of talking about the patriarchy and flipping it in a metaphor that was a new take than I've seen, if that makes sense. So you'll understand, like, when you see it.
Am I gonna be mad?
No.
Okay, good.
I mean, there were parts where I was like, no, but then I was like, obviously there's a good resolution. It's Barbie.
Right.
But there has to be some sort of conflict,
yeah.
but they do it well. Okay. They do it really well. And I think the cool thing is with big topics like this, when it comes to like societal topics, when it comes to spiritual topics, anything that's intangible, you need to give people metaphors because that's the language the unconscious mind understands, right?
Yes.
So the thing with Barbie is they took a really big topic such as the patriarchy and gender roles and, you know, gaining consciousness and growing through change. Like they took these really big concepts, and I feel like in this movie they showed a metaphor, and they showed the movie as like the metaphor. Like they showed a storyline that really hasn't been shown before. And that is going to hit certain people in a way that they would have not understood it in the past.
Right.
So maybe it's not going to hit everybody, but the people that it does hit, it's going to open their eyes to like, oh, I understand this on a deeper level now because that resonated with me.
Right.
I think that we need films like that because it does have a very positive, not only undertone, but it has a very positive overall feeling to it.
Right.
I just think that it was really well done. I thought it was very thoughtful and intentional and yeah, of course, like, there are some, I don't know, I think there sometimes is a gray area with societal issues because I don't ever like to, like, come, and I'm not saying Barbie did this, I'm just talking in general, like, I don't like to come at issues that are spewed from hate with more hate.
Yep.
Because I don't think it's productive. I think you need to meet hate with love or neutrality.
Yeah.
To actually diffuse it. And I don't think Barbie did this, but, like, again, I'm talking in general. I think that sometimes that does happen when people are trying to make statements, like they're trying to like push it a little too hard when we just need some time to like let these things dissipate and naturally integrate, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it does. I was going to say, like, this is where our news outlets, even social media, our pop culture, politics obviously have all failed us because these large pills to swallow, so to speak. Have you ever said, like, explain it to me like I'm 5? Like, about something you have no concept of whatsoever?
All the time,
like,
And
it takes a lot of humility, right? And I think that that's, like, obviously something that's lacking in a lot of arenas where people are highly convicted about their beliefs, but on either side of the proverbial fence. But if you can come at something with a sort of positive undertone and make this, like, overarching message feel like something that is for everyone, and it's not punching you in the face, it's just like welcoming you to the table to listen and then walk away and draw whatever conclusion you want to. I think that that's so much more powerful than we realize, but we see power as like speaking more loudly or creating a buzzword or a tagline on a topic that has actually nothing to do with what's going on. That's just like a clickbait or whatever. And
it gets a bit extremist when like it's actually quite simple.
And that's how this concept of being bipartisan about anything has disappeared. I was reading again one of the books I've read in the last few weeks. So Obama, my favorite president of all time. I love him. I love him as a person as well. He has written a few books, but he wrote a book. His most recent book that came out was called The Promised Land, and it was about his presidency. But the book before that he wrote, I think it was published in 2006, was actually about his time as United States Senator. So it's like even considering running for his first presidential term.
Very cool.
So I read it because I have read The Promised Land and listened to the audiobook because he narrates it.
Oh
and
my
his
God.
voice makes me feel like everything's going to be okay in the world. So I read this book. It was given to me as a Christmas gift. And I finally, like, I had read like the first 50 pages and just set it aside, and I finally picked it back up and finished it. And it's very interesting to hear about this America that was happening when I was a child. Like 2006, I was 11 years old. Sorry if that makes anyone feel old or young or whatever. I was 11. That's a fact. So I'm reading about these things that were going on that I only had like half a concept of because I was so young and didn't really like know or care, whatever. And all of these ways he's talking about how like our bipartisanship is crumbling and how all of these presidents were like able to do this with these people who believed differently than they did. And he was sort of starting to predict these realities that we're living in now. And it was very almost like goosebumps unsettling to read about like you know, like the conservative concern about the breakdown of the American family because people are, you know, like this was pre like gay marriage being legalized, all these things. It was just like when he was writing this, and I was like, oh my God, this is what we live in. Like talking about how someday someone's going to try and overturn like Roe v. Wade. And I was like, that happened. Like all these things. And I'm just like, okay, so we have people who do this for a living that predict these circumstances because they watch the trends and they see like how we're moving to this place of refusing to understand each other or meet people where they're at, like you said, with either positivity and love or neutrality. Like if you believe something differently than me, we can still have a conversation. Right. And I think that that's an acquired skill, but also like kind of an invaluable one. People will call it diplomacy, but like maybe it's just being a human being. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's just recognizing that like whatever you believe that I don't, that doesn't necessarily mean you're a shit person. Maybe it just means that your circumstances and experiences have led you to this point. So I'm kind of glad we're moving in a direction of like a movie like Barbie, or even like the path like the more recent Disney and Pixar films have taken that are speaking to these very important, globally, these important topics that are affecting all of us.
Yeah, and if you notice, it is triggering a lot of people. Yeah. But I find that to be interesting because it's so easy to just get worked up about these things, right? Mm-hmm. But I think where the real meat of it is if you are feeling triggered about something, it is the perfect opportunity to go inward.
Why? Why is this bothering me?
Yeah. Like, what's going on within me that I am holding on to so deeply that this is making me go attack people on the internet and make these posts and get all flustered? Because obviously, like, I have opinions that are on the side that I consider to be in the most alignment with the highest good of all, right? Right. But, like, then again, I'm willing to go in and like look at those and be like, okay, well, is this actually in alignment with everything? Right. Like, I don't actually necessarily think it's always like about looking at what other people are doing and changing them and convincing them. Like, it's not about that. It's really about, okay, like, what can I bring that is really going to best support the goodness of for everyone? The only way we can cultivate a society that is equal, that is a safe space, is if we can approach it from a more neutral standpoint. It's almost like you have to diffuse these. They're like little bombs that go off inside of us and that get triggered by certain things. And it's really empowering to be able to know, like, you don't have the power to control what other people think or what other people believe, but you have the power to go in and see what you believe and what you think and really give your ego a humble look. Right. You know, like it's uncomfortable. Yeah. It can be uncomfortable, especially if you've stood by something so long and you may get quiet and realize like, and go inward and realize like, I've been kind of standing by something that's actually not for the good of everyone and not for the good of the big picture. Big picture thinking is so key.
And it's hard because it requires us to be willing to be wrong, and human beings hate being wrong.
It's so true.
We have to say, you know what, like, and to say, I'm sorry, like, I'm sorry we fought so many times about this issue. I have taken the time to like think about it, and I really realized like I'm wrong about this, whatever. Like, saying that to someone requires so much humility, especially if
it's uncomfortable.
If you don't know how the person's going to react, if you know that that person's like, if I did that to you and we believe differently about something for whatever reason, you would have been like, that's okay. Yeah. Like, thank you for telling me. Yeah. But somebody else might be like, yeah, okay.
But, and then at that point, if somebody does react like that, you have to know, like, that has nothing to do with you. Right. Like, that is, and then they're going to have to go through the same pattern of awakening to that on their own journey. And that's, like, the crazy thing about being a human being. It's, like, I think that the whole thing that we're here for is that growth, like, that internal reflection, to move through the discomfort, to become more conscious, like, all of these, like, triggers, like, when people blow up, like, they are literally in a state of unconsciousness. Right. And that's why I love Eckhart Tolle's book and I love Michael Singer's book, because it goes into that. And now that I've really digested that information, I'll notice when I'm being unconscious just with, like, little things, you know? It's like, oh my gosh, but I'm aware of it. And the fact that you're aware that you're unconscious means that you're becoming more conscious.
Yeah.
And then you can act more intentionally.
That's tough too, though. Like, I will have those moments too. I remember being like much younger and having those moments too. It's like always someone close to you, right? Like, I think for both of us, it's our moms. Like,
oh my God.
All the time.
My mom is I love her more than anything in the world. She's one of my biggest teachers.
Yeah.
In the spiritual growth sense. Yeah.
Yeah. I think because we've had this conversation before too, like, we're both very close with our moms, and we both like will have these moments where we're like, something will like trigger or snap and we get like short-tempered or whatever. I'll get argumentative really quickly. Yeah. And I like hear myself doing it, or if like my sister's in the room, she is a Taurus. Like, I don't actually know that that's true, but she is, I don't know what her moon and rising are. She is such a Taurus. She is just so grounded, so even. Like, she'll have her moments where like she'll stand her ground on something, but even when she does that, it is like silent and strong. Yeah. She will not yell. She will like internalize everything. And I am much fierier, and I will like jump into the argument or like tell you why you're wrong. Specifically my mother. I am like not like this with anyone else in my life. It's so weird. And we'll like get at each other. And I'm like, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? Like, I know that she means well. Like, I know that her intentions are good. Like, I know that she doesn't actually mean that thing or whatever. And I'm like, it's like a runaway train that you're like, okay, hold on. But then once you become aware of it, then like the rebuild of like, okay, now I have to like mend that. Yeah. Apologize, ask for forgiveness, like be humble and show humility. And now like try to identify that split second moment where it's like, trigger reaction, because that's where the growth happens, and it literally is a split second. I know, but you have to be willing to like notice it, and that's when it gets uncomfortable, because you have to redirect your instinct. And my ego gets so bruised. I can't even lie, like, because this exact scenario has happened to me over the years too. Like, I think we have parallel instances with this, and I will want to just stay in a bad mood for the rest of the day because it's comfortable. And it's so messed up, but it's like there's something about the suffering that almost feels better than not having the suffering, which is something to untangle, because it's like, why am I holding on to this pain? Like, why do I think that the pain feels better than actually releasing it? Why is pain like a safe space? Yeah. Have you read this book? There's a book called Existential Kink, which is kind of a weird name. Okay. Very interesting. Finally made me realize, like, I do hold on to pain, because like there's a weird like pleasure in holding on to things that make you feel like horrible, but it's subconscious. Like, you don't realize it. So again, once you become conscious of it, you can release it and move through it. But again, it's like an example of a piece of art, or like a book that gives you a metaphor for a concept that may like hit differently for you. Patterns are tough. Yeah. And the ones with our moms like are very, they're so, I mean, they've been going on for almost 30 years, right? They're so habitual. Right. But to even be aware and to even be able to talk them through and state the pattern is a huge step, right? Yeah, so I'm definitely noticing more now. Like, I think I used to also be that way. Like, I needed to just be mad for a long time after. Yeah. And then my mom would be the same way too, but then she'll do the like silent treatment thing, which I cannot stand. Right. So I've started just being like, okay, that was a moment, it happened, it's over, like, what am I going to do with this one? And I've gotten better about not only like nipping it in the bud before it gets out of hand, but also like, I can't control what just happened, but I'm going to control what's happening next. Right. So being in the present. Right. Yeah. Forgiving yourself for the past as soon as you possibly can. Like, okay. I remember this narrative from growing up. It's not necessarily a bad narrative. It's not necessarily a bad thing to think about. I think it becomes toxic when it's just overutilized. You always say you're sorry, but you never change. You say you're sorry, but then you do the thing you said you were sorry for again. Yeah. And so I like just thought I was a bad person. Like, I just thought I had a bad temper. I was angry, and that I was a bad person because I was doing this thing I said I was sorry for. Maybe I wasn't really even sorry. Maybe I didn't change. And I think there are two things here. Like, first of all, the superlative of saying like you always and then you never. Right. Like, big red flag. Yeah. Never trust the superlative. Yeah. Yes, I heard the superlative in that statement. It's ironic, but it's true. Like, you should not trust the superlative in almost anything unless it's like about the universe and like humanity. Superlatives are I know.
Yeah.
The other part of that is I had to, in like my own personal spiritual journey, realize like I am forgiven even if I do the same thing that I'm sorry about again. Like, I'm going to screw up, and then I'm going to feel bad about screwing up. I'm going to resolve to be different, and then I'm going to screw up again. Like, that's just the nature of humanity.
Yeah.
And I think intention comes into play. What did I mean? Did I let my guard down? Did I let my ego in the driver's seat? Like, what was going on here? And again, like you said, just being conscious of it, like that's all we can really do.
Yeah.
And once you stop punishing yourself, you see the results. It's like trying to lose weight. Like, stop trying to keep all the food you love out of the house. Like, it's okay to have birthday cake.
Yeah.
And then you start seeing the results when you just continually tell yourself, like, oh, I failed. I fell off the wagon. My success is ruined. Like, 0 days since last incident. That mountain now feels insurmountable because you had made all this progress and now you're back to square one.
Right.
But if you don't look at it like
linear,
mountain that you're going to climb and reach the peak of, then it just becomes like walking on flat land. It's easy, and it never gets rough or rocky because it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Like, what matters is just that you try. And so that has helped me a lot.
Yeah.
Just to like forgive myself. And it'll happen with Anthony too sometimes. Like, I'll be stressed about something and I'll like be short with him or something, and he'll just say like, I know that wasn't about me. It was about this situation. I'm frustrated too. What can we do right now? Mm-hmm. Like, to alleviate some of this. And that's a lot of permission that I've not had in life, you know, from like other people who just haven't been as patient with me really, or whatever it's been. But to be shown like love in that moment.
Yeah.
Like, I know that I feel worthy of love in the moments before and following where everything's fine, but when you're, like, screwing up and someone's still like, hey, I love you, what can we do right now? That's super freeing.
Yeah, and I think the thing that gets really sticky is when we identify, like what you were talking about, like, I'm a bad person, or I didn't stick to my word. That means, like, I'm not living in integrity. Like, I have noticed I would put those, and I don't even think I would ever consciously say this, but, like, subconsciously, if I'm, like, really looking at those feelings, like, I subconsciously was, like, labeling myself as, like, oh, I'm not good at this. Like, oh, I can't do this. Like, I always fall back to my old patterns.
Yeah.
Like, blah, blah, blah. Like, all these things. But I would take it on as an identity, right? But the thing is, and the trick is, that the only true self that is love and compassion.
Right.
Like, that's all that I really am. Mm-hmm. That's all that you really are. That's all that anybody who's listening to this is. Mm-hmm. Like, your true self is just love and compassion.
Yeah.
So all of that other stuff, all of those identities are not, like, they're just false.
They're not real.
They're just things that we took on. They're beliefs that we took on.
Yeah.
The biggest and most freeing perspective to have is to notice that everything is a belief. There's no one truth, because if there was one truth on anything, we would have figured it out by now, right?
Right.
So everything that we're dealing with is a belief.
Right. There's nuance to everything.
Everything.
Because everyone's worldview is just a little bit different. Everyone's experiences are different.
We're drastically different.
Like, absolute for humanity.
Right. Like, because even if there's a law in one county, you can go over to the next county and it's a different law.
Right.
And it doesn't make the thing that was illegal in one county correct in the other, or vice versa. Like, we have the control of looking at all of our thoughts. Am I actually a bad person? That's not necessarily true. My brain's a machine. It just tells me what it hears.
Right.
And it regenerates.
Yeah.
Like, it's a body part that is literally created to regenerate information and remember information. But it's so cool that we have that, and we also have a consciousness that can, like, direct it.
Right.
It's so freeing, and this is, like, what I've just been completely immersing myself in lately, because it's been, and I keep saying this too, because, like, I've turned 30 now, and I'm like, I love being 30, and I'm like, why do I love being 30 so much? It's because I'm finally untangling all this shit that was really painful in my 20s, and it was all driven by these, like, heavy anchored beliefs that I just was unconscious of.
Right. I love that.
Oh my God.
It's like the actual life education we all actually need.
Well, and I think, like, isn't that the point of being here?
Like you said, like, that's the whole point. Like, you're never done.
Right.
Like, life isn't a thing that has a finish line. It's just a journey you go on, and it ends when it ends in a physical sense, but in a metaphysical sense, like, you're never really done. Yeah. In general, like, on a soul level, as you move through life, like, your body ages in this kind of linear way, but, like, your soul does not, like...
Right. Well, and that's why some people who are old are like, oh my God, they have such a youthful spirit. Like,
I don't think a soul is like a body. No. Like, a body ages because it was meant to die. It was meant to be a temporary vessel for an eternal thing. Yeah. I just don't see the two things as the same at all. Like, your mind and your body age in a linear fashion, but your soul is not a tangible part of that. Like, it just resides there as, like, your body is just its temporary host. Mm-hmm. But again, like, that's a belief thing for sure.
Yeah. But on a soul level, like, to me, that resonates. Yeah. Like, there's something very different about, like, spiritual, like, beliefs versus, like, human beliefs, I guess, that I would call it. Like, anything that's, like, not on a spiritual sense. And I do think it differs for everyone, but there are some things that are, like, spiritual concepts that, like, resonate with me in a very different way, because it's like I'm literally pointing to, like, my core right now. Like, there's something in there that feels very different than when I'm like, oh, I believe that people shouldn't drink before they're 21, or, like, something like that. Like, that's a very, like, human belief. Yeah. Whereas, like, a concept of, like, my soul and, like, talking about those things, like, feel very different in my body, if that makes sense. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Because it's more important.
Yeah.
At the end of the day. Yeah. Like, not that, debating, like, laws and rules and guidelines that keep people safe and healthy aren't good things, but it just, I don't know. I think if your body dies and your soul lives on, then why aren't we spending as much time and energy caring for our souls as we do our bodies?
Right. And I think I've come to the point where that's, like, the only thing that I care about all of a sudden. Like, everything else is just a bonus. Right. And, like, it's cool to have the material things, right? Like, it's cool to go to the Eras tour. It's cool to go, traveling. It's cool to manifest a house or a car. Like, that's what people think, like, this is all about, but, like, it's not about that. Yeah. It's not about that. It's about just showing up into whatever life situation you have. Yeah. Number one, I think being neutral to it is the goal, right? Detangling everything that's, biased, positive or negative. And then two, just, like, being open. Like, life is very abundant and very beautiful. And the universe can bring in so many amazing things. And if you're open to it, like, these opportunities are just there and they'll come to us. It's cool to, like, have our dreams and things, because I think desires are planted in us for a reason, right?
I agree.
But then the way that they actually come about and, like, those thoughts manifest into a physical, like, may not be exactly what we thought, but they could be better. And, like, that's what we always talk about, right? Yeah. Like, this or something better. And that's why it's like, okay, well, if this thing that I want so desperately is not happening, well, then maybe we need to stop focusing on the thing. Yeah. So much and just kind of really investing in what is now, because like, if that thing is as important as I believe it is, like, it's coming inevitably. Right. So what if I just really, like, take in what's here right now, and not in a sense of I need to be grateful for it because, like, other people have it worse than me. That's a tough perspective, because then there's, like, an underlying guilt there.
Yep. I think that's when we both grew up hearing.
Yeah. Yes. And I get that because obviously that is, like, a physical, tangible truth, right?
True, yes.
Right. But then in the sense of, it can also feel really, like, it takes you aback a little bit. Yeah. To think, like, well, I don't deserve to expand and grow.
Right. I should just stay over here and be small, because safe, that way I won't be upsetting anyone else. I won't be taking anything from anyone else. And then you lose that idea of law of abundance, because you're like, well, if I just stay over here and I'm really small, then, like, the world will be okay.
Yeah. That's the thing, is, like, when you are abundant, you get to spread that abundance. And that is what's so cool about it, is, like, when people have things that they can share, it goes out into the world. So, like, when you're open to those things and you're able to detangle the beliefs that keep you stuck and small, like, you're able to just expand and your soul can just grow, and there is no limit on spiritual growth.
I forgot to mention the name of the Obama book, the first one.
Oh,
2006. It's called The Audacity of Hope.
Oh my God, and that's a great title.
I literally saw it and was like, he stole my book title.
Oh my God.
I kid you not. I have this written in like a journal from like years ago.
That's so wild.
Like, I'm going to write a book and it's going to be called this. And I didn't know this book existed.
That's so funny.
I was like, you know what? If someone took it, I'm glad it was Barack. But like, it's so true. Like,
yeah.
I think we like to say the audacity when we're talking about men, but like, yeah, that level of just like confidence that, like you said, this or something better. Like, I'm allowed to hope for things I can't see. I'm allowed to like have faith in a future I can't visualize.
Right.
I can just keep showing up.
The more open we can be and the more clear we can be and the more we can like release what does not serve, the more we can be a channel for those things that are meant to be expressed. Mm-hmm. I've been trying to think about like the feeling that people have when they have a career that they're in alignment with, right? Like you can look at someone like Taylor Swift, who is like completely like so in alignment that she's explosive.
Yeah.
But then you can also look at people who have like a small business that they created. Like, this is such an example that I love. And I know like our friend Taylor has done this, and there's a lot of people who have this same like situation. Like, I've seen this pattern. But it's people who created like a small business, whether it be they're creating hair accessories, sweatshirts, they're creating graphics, they're creating whatever. And it kind of like blew up a little bit to the point of it's a sustainable business, right? And what these people always say is they're like, I didn't even expect to do this. I was working like a 9 to 5.
Right.
And now all of a sudden I'm doing this and I love it so much. And like, I never thought I would do this.
Yeah.
And I think that is the coolest career story. And also, it's not just people who have little businesses, right? Like, it's like people who have careers that they just genuinely love.
Yeah.
My dad always says, like, when he was 27, he was like, it was something like with wood, like moving lumber. He was working in a kitchen.
Like something with wood.
I know, like, and then he like ended up doing the career path that he's been on for so many years, and like has brought him this gigantic community and all of these amazing clients he's worked with for years and years and years, and like he's getting probably closer to retiring, but like he always looks back on his 20s and he's like, I had no idea. Like I had no idea that's what I was going to do. Yeah. And people who are authors, people who are entrepreneurs, people who start like restaurants or cafes, or like there's something creative about every single one of these things. Even the 9 to 5s have a creativity aspect for certain people. And I think that is really interesting because these people just seemed like they remained open. They had this pivot in their life, or they were just kind of looking and something kind of came to them. And there's that energy of just being open to receive this or something better. And it just came. And I find that to be an interesting pattern and something that I would like to create in my life too. Like, I don't know what it is exactly detail-wise. Like, I know what I would like to do. I have a bunch of ideas. Like, I have ideas all the time. But it will be interesting to see how it pans out without me getting in my own way of my biases. And I think that's where I've been kind of getting tripped up a little bit. Yeah. Because I've been trying to do whatever it is at the time. And then I'm like, that's not it. I have to try this. I have to try this. I'm going to revert back to what's safe. I'm going to do this instead. I know this will work, even though it's not what I want. I'm just going to do, like, it's just like this busyness that's like,
feels disjointed.
Why? Yeah. There's just a lot to grow through on this journey.
You'll find it. I mean, you are like the most open person that I know.
Thanks. I'm glad that you have that perception.
I mean, I think it's very human to like want to revert to what's safe or what's sure. I think we all have seasons of doing that. I definitely am case in point for that. It's uncomfortable to lean into something that isn't proven.
Right.
And to like test the waters. Like, maybe you'd rather step into the water knowing what the water's going to do. Right. But if anyone can navigate that successfully, and I don't mean successfully in the way that like the world means successfully. I mean like finding purpose in it. Right. It's you.
Thank
like,
you.
You will do it.
And all of you listening. Like, I genuinely believe that for all of us. So it can be really scary because like we want to think we have some sense of control. And the crazy thing is we just don't.
Why do I even want this? Where is this ultimately even taking me? Like trying to like lay out your future, like roll out the rug and see where it's going.
Yeah.
Because, of course, that's also pretty impossible. Like, there are very few things that are sure things.
Right. Like, even when we've had a job at Google for 20 years or something, and then, like, these people get fired.
Laid off, yeah.
And you think you have security, and you don't.
Yeah. I think that's a big learning. That's a big lesson I've learned lately. Is, like,
and it's
security isn't real.
No, and it's, like, it's interesting because it's, like, obviously in that situation, that's horrible. And, like, it sucks that these corporations do that, but at the same time, it's like, is there a bigger picture going on? Is there like something else that this person is being guided towards? Like, was something being suppressed that they were unable to do before? And are they going to have one of those stories of coming out of it with living in their purpose?
Right.
Just the potential of that and the excitement of that is a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
To even think that that's an option, to even think that that could be.
Yeah, and I think there's some comfort knowing it's all actually working out. Like, you
Isn't
can't
that
see
crazy?
it, but it's just happening. Like, I've had an almost guilty level of peace about that. It is very unlike me. Like, to not be panicking.
I'm proud of you.
Always. Like, I have been unemployed for 7 weeks. And I have applied for like 200 jobs. I have been almost comically unsuccessful. Like, I figured it was going to take me a little while, maybe a few weeks, whatever. Everyone else was, like, convinced it was going to take me a few days, whatever, which was very kind, and, like, I think they were just trying to be nice, but I'm like, okay, this is taking way longer than I thought it was going to, and either I'm extremely naive or there is just some better plan, and it's like keep saying that.
It's taking suspiciously long,
suspiciously long.
So it's like there's a reason for that?
And there must be. That is my only explanation, because I do not believe that the universe is conspiring against me, so I can only assume that it is conspiring for me because I have no other explanation.
Right.
So I'm just like, okay. Like, and every once in a while, like, bills come in, right? And I'm like, how am I going to pay this? Whatever. Like, the money thing has been for sure the biggest stressor. And I'm sure so many other people who have ever been laid off, that's the big one for all of us. But most of the time, like 85% of the time, I've just been very like, okay, we'll see what I can apply for today. Like, I can only do what I can do.
Yeah.
And I'm like, am I okay? Like, shouldn't I be freaking out about this? Like, there are other people in my life that are freaking out about it more than I am. I'm like, I don't know. I'm doing everything I can.
The thing is with this, so the outcome is going to be the same, right? Like, you're going to get a job.
I assume.
Right?
Like, so, or like a tornado's gonna come and like only suck me up. I don't know. Some bizarro thing is gonna happen.
The outcome of this situation is going to be the same.
Right.
But your approach to it is going to be whatever you choose. So you could panic this entire time.
Right.
And you're going to get to the outcome. Or you could be at peace and you're going to get to the outcome.
Right.
I know it feels weird and suspicious and like, this doesn't feel normal. But the fact that you're choosing and, like, staying calm with it.
I don't think I'm even choosing it. I'm, like, subconsciously calm.
It feels like your subconscious has shifted something, right?
Yeah.
You're not putting yourself through suffering on this journey that's going to take you to the same place either way.
Yeah, and I think it's because, like, I've already been put in that place by someone else, and it was outside of my control. Like, somebody else already pulled the rug out from under me.
Right.
So I can either, like, fall gracefully and get back up and dust myself off and be like, okay.
Let's keep going.
Or I can just, like, lay on the ground and cry and, like,
right.
Not that there's anything wrong with crying.
You can do both.
I definitely did my share of crying about it,
right.
but I can lay on the ground and feel defeated.
Right.
But I'm not defeated.
Right.
Because that's the other thing. Like, it's a job. At the end of the day, I'm like, okay, I thought I had security in this thing. I don't. So that's a good lesson.
Yeah.
It helps me to detach from that thing. I think that's a lesson I needed to learn. I think a lot of us need to learn to, like, detach from
everything.
The work that we do. And, yeah. You know, just having time.
Yeah.
To read and, like, do the things I love doing that I never feel like I have time for. You know, spend more time with the people that I care about, like, invest in those relationships more, things like that. You know, things that are free. I think I'm doing a lot of things that are free. Mm-hmm. So that's also helping me to release the money thing a little, because I'm like, look at all these things in my life that are beautiful and fulfilling that don't cost money. It's a weird, good season, and as much as I'm like, okay, we can find a job now, that would be good, I also know that, like, this is a season of my life that I might not ever have again.
Yeah.
Like, I might not ever have this much free time.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to enjoy it and kind of just take it, like you said, like, neutrally, like, okay, this is what's happening.
Yeah.
So, all right. And just not worrying as much about what's coming next, because I literally have no control over that.
Yeah, that's the only thing is, like, you can plant the seeds in the garden, but you can't control if the vegetable's going to grow, right?
Like, so I'm like, here's my resume, here's the stuff I can do, here you go. And they're like, no. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. All right, on to the next one. Yeah. It does take a lot of strength to get to a place where you can feel peaceful in a process that is so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And it doesn't always happen overnight. Like, you've been through situations that have evolved you to a place where you are now peaceful. I mean, you can always choose that from the get-go, but I think, again, tying back to, like, spiritual growth, I think that we're brought through these situations that get us to a point where we like learn that stability.
Right.
You can choose that stability, but if you're not conscious of that,
right,
how are you going to choose it?
Right. And I think it would have been weird if I, like, got laid off and immediately was like, okay, that happened.
Yeah.
Like, that is, like, another level of neutrality that I just think is, like, a little inhuman. Like, it's normal to, like, cry or get upset when some, like, you know, catastrophic thing or traumatic thing or unexpected thing happens. It's normal to, like, like, get so excited when something surprising and wonderful comes into your life. Like, that, the fact that we can feel a spectrum of emotion is what makes us human and distinguishes us from, like, other creatures. It's just, again, like, knowing, you know, how that emotion is serving you. Like, yes, it is healing for me to cry about this right now because that was unexpected and not cool, and, like,
yeah, and it
came out of the blue.
It moves the energy, but how much do you attach yourself to it?
Exactly.
Is the question.
Right. So, like, I sat there, I cried for 25 minutes, and then I was like, okay, what can I do now?
Yep.
And that I felt like I processed it in a much healthier way than I thought I would.
Yeah.
And I guess that's how you know but that's the thing, like, that's how you know you're growing. It's when those situations arise and you handle them differently than you would have, or differently than you did the last time, or whatever. Like, I remember when I got laid off from Disney because of COVID, I, like, wallowed for a while.
Yeah.
And so this time around, like, 3 years later, I'm like, okay,
yeah,
I'm handling this differently because, like, COVID and that situation together taught me that, like, security isn't really that real. And then I fell back into the idea of security again. And I'm like, okay, like, I think I may have learned it this time. I think maybe it's stuck.
Yeah.
But see,
there's always more to learn, but
yeah, you're never done.
No.
If you're done, you're dead. That's what, I forget what my family said that.
But then even if you're dead, we don't actually know.
I don't know. It's okay.
Our bodies are done anyway.
I don't need to know everything. That sounds like a lot.
Speaking of all of this consciousness talk, I think, again, I think you'll enjoy tying back to Barbie. There was a lot of themes of becoming conscious within that movie. And I think that was a cool spin on it. And I think most people aren't going to view it that way because most people are going to see, like, the gender norms and the societal stuff and, like, all of that, which I think is really important. But there is, like, a spiritual, like, awakening within all of that too, which I think is really cool. So if you're into the spiritual girly scene like we are, then you'll appreciate that.
Yay. I'm so excited. We'll report back thoughts. I mean, I'll probably voice text it to you and then we can, like,
I can't wait to talk about it with you.
I'm so
you're
excited.
You're gonna freak out.
I might just need to kidnap Anthony from work one of these days. I'm gonna get a pink body bag.
Yeah.
And just throw it over him and
Barbie time!
Drag him out the back door of the restaurant.
I think it's amazing too that they got so many actors in it that are.
I love that it's Ryan Gosling.
He's perfect for Ken.
Of course he is.
And Margot Robbie is just stunning.
She is Barbie. It's fine.
She is. You're gonna laugh. There's this. I'm not gonna say. There's one part you're just gonna laugh at about Margot Robbie.
Okay.
You'll see.
Okay.
And Shang-Chi from Marvel.
Yeah.
He's in it. And Will Ferrell obviously is in it, which is hilarious.
Little teaser trailer, yeah.
And I don't know who else, but
America Ferrera.
Yes,
my sisterhood of the traveling pants girly.
You're gonna love her.
She was my favorite of the four of them in the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants because I felt like like, we got each other.
She's very relatable.
I hear that there's a monologue at the end that
there's
she
a
gives
monologue that, I was not going to
make
say
me
it.
cry.
I was like, oof, this is hitting. This is hitting on a level of depth that we needed to be spoken.
I love the idea that, like, potentially, and it seems like this is what's happening, like, a Barbie movie is, like, shaking the world. Good.
We stan.
Good.
I think that was the whole purpose of Barbie in the first place. Also, I don't know if you've ever watched, there's this on Netflix, there's a special, it's like The Toys That Made Us.
Yeah.
And it's about Barbie. Have you watched this?
We started watching it. We haven't finished it. It's like in the things in process. Oh gosh, like in the winter at some point. Yeah.
It's a phenomenal documentary because it goes into the making of the toy Barbie, and the woman who created Barbie is named Ruth, and she wanted to have an adult doll, right? Yeah. All the dolls were baby dolls.
Right.
And I think her and her daughter, Barbara.
Oh, cute.
Who Barbie is named after. So Barbara and her were, I think, in like Switzerland or something, and they saw these dolls. This is not related to the movie. This is just like history I've been learning.
That was Jess's water glass ASMR.
Yeah. But they were in Switzerland, and they saw these dolls with different outfits. And Barbara wanted a doll, but like wanted the different outfits. So they asked, like, can we buy a doll and then get the different outfits? And they said, no, you can't do that. So then she was like, oh, we need to create that. Like, that's the idea.
Hi, sharks.
Yeah.
My name's Ruth, and this is Barbara.
Right. Exactly. And then, oh my God, a lawnmower.
Is that your dad? No.
It's either my dad or my neighbor.
I'm just curious. It's your dad.
Yeah.
It's part of the summer vibe.
A celebrity appearance.
Yes.
But anyway, so she brought this idea back to Mattel, and they were like, no, like, I don't think that's it, because it was all run by men. But then women were like, yes, we love it. Like, and it blew up. And it's so cool that she created this. Barbie is like a woman with a million careers, right? She can do anything. She can be a mom. She doesn't have to be a mom. She can be a doctor. She can be a lawyer. She can be a farmer. Right. She can be anything. And that's like the whole core of what Barbie is. So Barbie has been revolutionary since she was created with the intention to encourage women to be able to do whatever they want.
Yeah.
So the fact that this movie is coming along and peeling back another layer, and like shaking the world again, it's like there is so much force in this doll, that is making the world shift.
So I'm not gonna lie, like, my issue with Barbie has always been, and I say always, I wasn't honestly a big Barbie kid. Like, I had the Polly Pockets. My friends had the Bratz dolls. I did not have the Bratz dolls. My mom thought they looked like the type of girls who would, like, shove your head in a toilet at school. So we were not into the Bratz dolls. But I had a lot of Polly Pockets and just other dolls. My mom had Barbies, though, from when she was a kid. And she had all the, like, 70s Barbie stuff.
That is so cool. Does she still have them?
Like, the Barbie camper. It's like rust orange and, like, kiwi green. There's, like, peace signs. It's so cute. I loved it. I played with this thing all the time. But my issue as I got older with Barbie was, like, and I know people have commented, like, Barbie is anatomically impossible, like, she would fall over, whatever, like, from her frame. I was like, Barbie doesn't look like, nobody looks like Barbie.
Right.
Like, if this is our standard for beauty, like, we're fucked, you know? Like, and I never looked like Barbie. I was not tall, I was not skinny, my legs were not long, like, I had brown hair and pond water eyes. Like, I don't know, I felt, like, uncomfortable about Barbie because I thought, like, this is how I'm supposed to look, and I definitely don't.
Yeah.
So I kind of love that different take on it. But again, like, here's me and my implicit, like, learned misogyny where I'm, like, looking at this doll and reducing her. I mean, it's a doll. It's a toy. But, like, reducing her to how she looks. Not even thinking about, like, all the different career Barbie and mom Barbie and all the things. What she stands for, I'm reducing her to her appearance.
And it's brilliant because they go into that in the movie, too.
Yeah.
Like, they go into the fact that, like, well, men hate Barbie and women hate Barbie.
Yep. It's so true.
It's so
true. So I had these, like, teen years of being like, ugh, I'm never going to let my daughter play with Barbies. And then when this movie was announced and came out and, like, you start seeing teasers and stuff, I remember, like, people started posting, like, old versions of Barbie, like, retro things, and I'm looking at them all and stuff, and I'm like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
I did the thing that I'm mad at men for doing.
Yeah.
I only thought about how unattainable she is and what she looks like. And I never thought about the whole point of her at all. So that is my public apology for doing that. genuinely, I felt like, damn it, Kristen. Like, I was mad at me.
But that's okay because, again, it's literally what we were just talking about. Like, becoming conscious of something and giving yourself, okay, I kind of, like, messed up here.
Yeah.
Or, like, I caused myself suffering. When I didn't have to. Like,
I didn't have to. Right. Yeah. I don't give a shit that I don't look like Barbie anymore. I don't care at all.
Right. And it's so interesting, too, because, like, it comes from within us, like, a feeling of inadequacy. Right. I don't look like a doll. And it's, like, now we're like, oh, my gosh, that's, like, a crazy comparison to make.
Like,
but, like,
I'm not plastic in a Mattel box.
Right. Exactly.
For $19.99.
But they did a really phenomenal job with literally representing every type of woman and man, and like
I love that.
The diversity is just chef's kiss. It's so good.
Because I also think, like, for a long time, the narrative of, like, it doesn't matter what you look like, it matters what's on the inside, and that's something we tell, like, women who aren't the Western definition of beauty to make them feel better, but the women who are the Western definition of beauty, we still emphasize their beauty.
Right.
Maybe it's really hard to look like Barbie in real life because no one probably takes you seriously. And the whole blondes are dumb thing. Like, my sister definitely gets it. My sister looks like Barbie. Like, she just does. She literally wore a pink shirt yesterday, and she, like, came home, and I was over there, and I was like, holy shit. Sarah. Yeah. But she has experienced this where she's extremely intelligent, but people will harass her and talk to her like she's stupid because she is blonde and skinny and, like, pretty and whatever, and they think that she doesn't have a brain.
And she's really freaking smart.
And she's really smart, and I think this movie will be... I'm excited to see it because I'm excited to, like, hopefully feel like I'm healing that part of me that fell into that narrative and propagated it by, like, being mad at a doll.
Yeah.
Because I was never going to look like that.
Right.
I don't really want to.
Yeah. That's the beauty of it all. And it's coming into our own and being like, I'm happy with who I am, and, like, I can love Barbie. Because I think that women are pitted against each other a lot. We were pitted against a doll. Like, that's what's crazy.
I was mad at a doll.
Right. And then it's like, okay, well, if that's a doll, like, what about women to women? Right. And, like, that's where it gets really sticky and complicated. And the fact that our society sets us up for that is just, I don't know. I've always been a girl's girl. Like, I love female friendships. They are everything to me. Obviously, ours is very strong. And, like, just my female friendships with everyone throughout the course of my life, they're so
important. I could not do my life at all.
They are healing on another level. Like, I love Cher's whole definition of men. I love men, but I don't need them to live. They're like a dessert. Like, it's a bonus to a life. And that's true, right? True. Like, because I love Steven. Yeah. Love of my life. Adore him. He's an amazing human being. I love my dad. I love my brother. Like, I love the good, genuine men in my life. But, like, I think I grew up thinking, like, oh, we had to, like, rely on the men to, like, make sure everything was safe and okay and blah, blah, blah. And, like, just breaking down all of that. Like, they're just human beings. Like, everyone's a human being.
It's just Ken.
The Ken part is so interesting. I'll be interested to hear your take on that.
I'm very excited.
But
I just want to have my mind blown. Yeah. I want to question everything I've ever thought. Like, already, even before I've seen this movie, just from, like, the trailers and stuff, I've already been like, holy shit. Yeah. Am I a misogynist?
Well,
because I hated Barbie for being skinny.
Well, I think we're taught misogyny. I just think unconscious misogyny.
And the thing is, I hadn't thought about Barbie since then. Like, I haven't thought about Barbie since I was, like, old enough to still be playing with Barbies.
I got a tub of them in my basement.
So I had to re-examine this thing that I haven't thought about in years. And, like, I have definitely evolved from my, like being at Disney and, like, looking at girls that were skinnier than me and stuff and being like, wish I looked like her, and watching other people, like, assume other things about me or make assumptions about, like, the new girls that would come in because of what they looked like. Yeah. And I was like, oh, I gotta get out of here. And I recognized it because it was, like, I was inundated with it every day, and that was a very healing experience because on the other side, I was like, oh, women do be just hating each other.
And we went to an all-girls school, too.
And I didn't even throw that on top of it. I didn't even really see it then as much as I did at Disney, and was like, no, I'm not, this ends here. Yeah. And so I thought I had unpacked all of it, and then the Barbie thing rolls around, and I'm like, oh, I forgot about that. Yeah. That other inanimate thing. It's just so, and it's uncomfortable. It makes me feel icky. Yeah. But I have to.
But it's such an amazing opportunity to go in there. And to, if we have daughters,
Right.
Like,
oh my gosh, yes.
Like, this work that we're doing is breaking generational cycles.
Yeah.
Not just within our own families, but within, like, society. Like, literally, this movie and anything else in this realm is breaking a pattern and bringing up these uncomfortable feelings that we suppressed, that we were going to pass on unconsciously, and that we're now able to look at and heal. And that is insane. That's incredibly insane and beautiful. Because that's how the world heals. That's how society heals, is like us going into the discomfort and taking it out of the box and looking at it and sifting through it and getting rid of the shit that's been dragging on for 7 generations or whatever.
Yeah. I forget what we were talking about the other day, but Anthony, like something, not about me, about some, like, someone we don't even know or whatever, and Anthony was like, do we still comment? Like, are we still commenting on women's weight? And I was like, not in this house. Like, and I'm just like, you know what? I'm going to start saying that, like, about everything. I just want to, like, just wash my hands up. Like, not in this house. Like, obviously not physically a house, but meaning in this relationship, in this dynamic, in any space that I occupy, I'm just going to be like, not in this house.
Yeah.
We're not doing it.
Yeah. Oh my God.
And that's like, yes, movies like this that are, like, obviously blockbusters, like, what did I say earlier? It's the highest grossing film directed by a female director, like, ever.
Yeah.
Which is awesome and amazing, and that's huge. But also, like, the real work happens in, like, small spaces, like in homes, in relationships, in the way that you speak to your children, in the way that you talk to your friends.
Yeah.
In the way that you, I mean, even the way, like, you look at other women. Like, we notice other women noticing us. Like, that's what we do. So, like, you go somewhere and you see a girl, like, if I see a girl with a cute outfit and I know that I'm, like, doing this, like, the up and down, I'm looking at her whole, like, the whole fit, I want to make sure that I tell her it's cute, because I don't want her to walk away thinking, like, she was judging me. Like, I don't know what my face is doing necessarily, and I want to make sure that it's, like, clear that I think you look amazing, because I want you to walk away with that confidence that you can pay forward to another woman. I don't want you to walk away feeling judged and, again, like, icky or small. What's wrong with me?
Right.
And then inadvertently passing that energy along. I make a point to say something, because
I think that's so good.
I don't want, like, that to be misconstrued, because women are so used to that silent
judgment.
Anthony will comment on it. He'll be like, did you see the way she looked at you? I was like, no, I'm like, not paying attention or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's easy to misconstrue. I'm like, maybe she was judging me. Maybe she was just like, oh, those shoes are cute. Maybe she was thinking, I have that bag or whatever. Right.
I'm always looking at other women's outfits, and I'm like, oh, I want to dress like that. And I will literally, like, see someone out on the street and, like, recreate the outfit for myself.
Right.
You know? Like, there's so much... I love being a woman, that TikTok sound. Like, there's so much creativity within it. And I also think, too, I think that all of us who are, like, feminine essence beings, who identify as female, like, I really think our souls are meant to, because we have this, like, openness to us that is healing this lineage that needs to be healed. And it's amazing that we can get to a point where it's like, oh, we want to tell someone, like, you look beautiful, you look amazing, because that's what, again, love is needed to heal. Like, we need to do that for each other, to make this progress, to shift society, to reclaim the power of being a woman.
Right. And,
like, I would never want to be anything else.
No. And, like, people always, I mean, tale as old as time, like, the innate nature of a woman is what? Nurturing. Like, okay, then I want to lean into that and, like, see what happens. Yeah. If that's my, like, truest nature, then what would happen if we all actually just leaned into it? Yeah. And what if that meant finding something kind to say to the people that you are interacting with? Like, instead of just taking your coffee from the person at Starbucks, either asking them, like, genuinely, like, how are you doing? Like, just those little things. And I'm not saying you shouldn't do this if you're a man either, but, like, again, this feminine energy is very unique, and I think that's where our power is, in the ability to, like, affect a room. Like, we can walk into a room and change the room.
Well, also, why do you think there's almost this, like, threat around feminine energy? Because it's so powerful.
So powerful,
right?
You're scared of it.
So, so like, it makes me speculate. I'm like, do we have more of a patriarchal society because divine feminine energy is so powerful?
They can't even look at it. It's too bright.
It's too bright. Like, women need to dress differently. They need to be smaller. Right. They need to dim their light, because that feminine energy is so strong. Right. And it radiates so brightly that it's been dimmed all these years. Yeah. And it's coming, like the rise of the divine feminine is here.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful.
It's girl summer.
It's girl summer. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, I think, you know, historically the narrative has been like the whole sex appeal thing of like think a woman in a boardroom full of men, and if she walked in like Legally Blonde wearing like a pink blazer, no one's going to take her seriously, or everyone's going to try and downplay her when actually she's the only one in the room anyone's looking at.
Right.
Because she showed up.
Right.
And she doesn't look like a cookie cutter of everyone else around her, and she didn't stoop to your level and go like, well, everyone's going to be wearing this, so I'm going to match them so that they feel comfortable. She was like, you know what? Here I am.
Yeah.
Take it or leave it.
Yeah.
Don't judge me till you hear me open my mouth.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I feel so empowered. So
this like weirdly became a very good Leo season.
This is perfect. Yeah, this is exactly what I wanted to talk about today. I wanted to talk about Barbie. I wanted to talk about Taylor Swift, and just girl power, the joy of being a woman. Mm-hmm. Like, I think just tying to rediscover as a whole, like there has been so much to rediscover about being a woman in this world and on this journey of life. And everything we talked about in this episode is like reanalyzing what that means to us and reclaiming it for what it means to us. And that, like, there's so much power in that. It's really beautiful.
Yeah. It's cool. It's like,
it's exciting.
I feel
jazzed.
I feel yes, jazzed. I was going to say I feel tingly.
Yes. And it's great too,
because you need to start saying jazzed more.
I love saying jazzed. I feel jazzed. And it's really cool too, because like after this episode, Kristen came over a little early. We're at my house, and our friend Vicky,
you guys know Vicky.
You guys know, our bathrobe princess.
Also, we did an episode with her.
Yeah, our episode about being a mom, a new mom during the pandemic. She's coming over after this, and it's just, I feel like that's such a great thing to transition to after this episode. And I know Vicky always listens to Rediscover. So.
And I haven't met Madeline yet.
Yeah, another woman.
You've met her, I assume. Have you met her? Okay.
I met her really quick. Yeah.
Another little woman.
Another girly. But yeah, I think that is the perfect, like, this was the perfect episode to film before, you know, reconnecting with like our little girl group from high school and going back into, you know, we did go to an all girls high school. Like there was such strong like bond with all of us too. Like that was such a gift from our school setting, was our female friendships were so strong.
Yeah, and I think that's important to point out, like, when I said about Disney and then you said about going to an all-girls high school, too. Like, yes, both of those places definitely showed us examples of what it looks like when women do not empower other women, but also, I think, were the absolute grassroots efforts in cultivating my prioritization of my female friendships and like how valuable and important they are to me.
Yeah.
Seeing what that can do. Yeah. The actual idea of like sisterhood, right? Chosen family, finding your family amongst these other women who you kind of meet and do these like transformative years of life with. And I definitely found that at Disney too. Not for nothing. There are also
I found some
wonderful women in Disney who were very empowering and very uplifting and very like just abundantly giving and joyful. And like those are the ones I'm still friends with and connect with. There's light and dark in every space. You attract what you put out, and sometimes, like, obviously high school, still figuring a lot out, and so, like, you can't criminalize yourself for the mistakes or for the missed opportunities. I think now I am realizing more and more as I get older, like, how valuable that is and was. But yeah, the female friendships.
Yeah.
I like literally would be like dead somewhere. Like that is not an exaggeration.
No, it's literally one of my favorite aspects of being alive. And it's so beautiful to be friends, you know, with Vicky for however many years it's been. I literally have lost count. To see her through high school years and to see her, you know, now be a mom of 2 and like to be able to celebrate her through graduating high school, through going to Disney together, through her wedding day, through now being a mom and like loving her kids and still like having this friendship and knowing like no matter how much time it's been in between seeing each other, it's like you pick up where you left off and you just go back into that space of just loving each other and supporting each other and catching up and cheering each other on and just getting so excited about
oh, I can't wait for her to listen to you say all of this.
I know.
She's gonna cry.
I know. It's a really beautiful thing, and it's a gift. It's so cherish your female friendships, invest into them as much as you do with, and I don't want anyone to think like we're only biased, like girls only. Like obviously we're rooted in love for everyone.
Yeah.
I think what we're talking about here is like, it is special to like give the girls a moment and to invest into that. And it's important to invest in any relationship that lights you up, that is fulfilling, that is nurturing to your soul. And it's
just like, this is girl summer. So,
if
Saturdays are for the boys, which I've heard that they are,
well,
then this summer's for the girls.
Summer's for the girls.
Sit down.
Yeah. Girls, gays, theys, and golden retriever boyfriends only.
Oh my God. Yes. Yes.
That's it. But anyway, the energy of Barbie and Taylor Swift have just like exuded out of my pores during this episode.
You can't convince me that they're not the same person.
I love that. Oh my God. It was so good. Everything was so good. I can tell you I had the same high after Taylor Swift as I did after Barbie.
Okay, that's good. It'll be just like going to the Eras too.
Exactly. No, like literally the whole day after I was high, and like today I'm high from Barbie. Like no substances involved.
Amazing.
Except ice water with lemon. That's
except ice water with lemon.
Oh my God. I love it. Summer vibes are here.
Yay.
So we are going to wrap up for today. We've been going off on all these amazing topics for quite a while now. So next month is going to be
Virgo
season. Wonder how that'll go. We'll see. We never know. We never know how these episodes are going to go.
Virgo's an interesting one. We'll see.
Yeah, I got to learn more about it. Again, I know.
Oh, okay. All right. We'll talk about it.
Yeah. Do you have Virgo in your life?
I do.
Who?
My friend Amanda. I didn't even realize she was a Virgo. And then like,
I don't have a lot of Virgos.
I don't either. And then I was like, okay, things are starting to make sense. Because Virgo is very like a Gemini, like notoriously like misunderstood as like rigid and immovable and like just like
I was thinking
OCD.
Like logistics for Virgo,
but really not always the case. Like Geminis aren't like, we're not like swinging from chandeliers every night, you know.
Only sometimes.
Listen, there's a time and place, okay? There's a time and a place.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, well, we'll circle back in a month. Excited to see what unfolds.
Yeah.
Excited to hear Kristen's thoughts on Barbie.
Yes.
Keep them fresh as much as you can.
I'm just going to send a voice text and we can just like
clip it in. Actually, that's probably a really good idea.
That's what I'll do.
Yeah. And other than that, let's just go enjoy the summer. Soak it all up. Be present. Check out those books we mentioned. Make it a reading girl summer.
Get a big like sun hat. Make it a movie scene, right? So this is Leo season. So like, don't just get a book and start reading. Lay in the sun, get the big sun hat, and make yourself like a fun little mocktail.
A lavender lemonade mocktail.
Like a bendy straw situation.
Enjoy.
Soak up the rays, read a book.
Romanticize your life.
Yeah.
Just take the present as it comes. Yeah. Like, it's the only thing that exists. No past, no future, just now. And enjoy.
Also, quick little side note, I do find that in seasons of like upheaval, like seasons of uncertainty, like diving into a book has always been my way of like finding another perspective about it. It like really does get you out of your head and your worldview and land you somewhere else, whether it's fiction or not. Like you can find something in everything. And at first I thought it was escapism because I am a Gemini, and maybe it a little bit is, and that's okay. But also it's a very good way to walk away. Like, I don't read a book without walking away with a new perspective. And I think that's so important in a season where you need one. So,
Or is it shifting your vibration so you feel better and then you gain new perspectives and ideas?
Maybe both.
It could be both.
Yeah.
So, there's something there.
Yeah.
Or you can do Audible, too.
Yes.
Which I have a code for. I'll put it in the show notes.
Yes.
I love Audible.
I have Audible. I just renewed mine through, like, October or something.
I love it. So, I love a tangible book, especially before bed, so I'm not on a screen or, like, you know, in a scene you just described looking outside. But, dang, when I am doing my makeup, when I'm cleaning, when I'm driving, Audible is so... And it really does boost me up. Yeah. I feel a shift when I listen to something that's inspiring.
Like a book. Yeah.
Especially Eckhart Tolle or Michael Singer, or anyone, Wayne Dyer, any of those.
So many things going in the show notes this month, kids.
So many things. You're stocked. You're stocked for the summer.
We're stocking your summer library.
Oh, it's so good.
Like
so
your
fun.
Rediscover Reading Rex.
Love it. That's cute.
The Rediscover Reading Corner.
Oh my God, love it.
Cute. We'll see what we read before next month.
Can't wait. But all right, we'll let you go. We love you guys.
We'll let you go.
We'll let you go.
It's like being on the phone with your mom.
I know.
Okay, I'll let you go.
I'm gonna let you go.
I know you're busy.
But we could talk all day, which we are going to.
Call me tomorrow.
Off camera. Thank you guys so much for listening. Happy summer. Thank you for celebrating Girl Summer with us and just sharing the love to one another.
Now get outside.
Yeah, get outside, show your fellow girlies some love, and we'll talk to you next month.
Bye. Outro, take 1.
Thank you for joining us. Oh, hold on.
Outro, take 2.
Thank you for joining us for today's episode of Rediscover.
If you haven't already subscribed, hit that button and join the Rediscover fam.
Come back on the first Tuesday of every month for brand new episodes.
If you're like us and you have opinions about everything, leave us a review on Apple or Spotify. Your positivity inspires our creativity, and we love hearing from you.
Follow us on Instagram at JessicaFaye508 and positively.Kristen.
And check out Jess's blog at theroadjusstraveled with 1L.com.
Until next time, we'll talk to you soon.
Bye!